Alright everyone, we start off today talking about the predictable new attack on Twitter. Of course, Twitter is not going bye-bye. They said that within the first week of Elon taking over, it was supposed to basically disappear. It shouldn't even be functional right now. He cut so much of the workforce. How is the site still working? Quick, we need to kill it harder. Taylorlorenz, link in the description, archived of course, launching into a tirade about Twitter. The gates of hell are opening because Elon Musk is going to bring back people that we don't like. Now, I've explained before, the legacy media is not going to attack Twitter, nor did it attack like new tech sites like BitChute or Odyssey or something. It doesn't really attack them because it's worried about hateful speech or anything like that. These attack pieces come from people that typically have high salaries. They have security, they live in nice posh penthouses with guards, or they live in a gated community. They're not really worried about the suffering of others, which is why they constantly harangue about the need to wage wars in the world anytime it becomes fashionable. What they care about is that the legacy media was dwindling in popularity for a number of years because content creators with independent voices are more reachable, the engagement is higher, they're more entertaining, and they're more able to function, specifically because they have lower overhead. It takes a lot more money to keep the lights on at the Washington Post field office than it does for someone to set up a webcam, for someone to put an app on their phone and broadcast themselves through some medium to the world. It takes a lot more money. People have to get degrees to do that, otherwise they won't generally be considered unless it's like, hey, no, you got some former politician on as a consultant for, your talk show occasionally or something like that. You have them on The View, you have them on The Five, whatever else. Independent content creators were kicking the ass of the legacy media, as well as legacy politics, etc. And they got together in their vertical monopolies to try to stop it. This is why they deboost hateful content, most of which is not actually hateful. There is a completely arbitrary methodology by which that's even determined. It's because of competition, it's because of money. If Apple and Google, which are being perturbed to try to get them to remove Twitter from the App Store, it won't remove them from being accessed via phone, but it'll make the most convenient manner by which most phone users do that unavailable in the future. If they do that, it will be more evidence of their vertical duopoly, which already should be illegal under U.S. law. These are U.S. firms. They would be engaging in non-competitive practices to a direct competitor that's thinking about competing with Google in video, for example, certainly is considering competing with Apple in now the smartphone sense. Musk says in response to this, well, I hope that doesn't happen. Apple and Google, stay the fuck out of our business. But if it does, I'll just develop my own Starlink phone or something like that. He has the capability of doing so. Anyone who is developing the capability of re-entering rockets and reusing them and going to Mars and shit like that probably can figure out how to make a working phone. And there would be plenty of people who would make the switch. You could end up opening up a triopoly, essentially. Google and Apple could fuck themselves by removing them from the App Store and gain unwanted competition. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, if one deletes them, the other will face huge pressure to do so as well, because once you appease the howling pink-haired lynch mob, if they're not fully appeased, if they don't get everything that they want, they go more frenetic. This is, by the way, why you have the slow trickle of independent voices off of places like Twitter. It's not enough to ban this wave of individuals, you have to ban the next wave of individuals. Each wave becomes more innocuous and less centrally, even tangentially related to the original bitch about the content creation. So at first it's like, okay, this person is a literal Nazi and they're doing the Hitler show and stuff like that, we're banning them. Then it becomes, well, this person told a joke 20 years ago. Then it becomes, this person chuckled at that joke that was told 20 years ago. And so on down the line, it gets more and more censored. This has been the tale of the internet post-early 2010s. More and more censorship. I would point something out, which is really funny. Did any of these journalists that are saying that Twitter must be stopped now because the gates of hell are opened ever try to pressure Apple and Google when it was revealed that there was illicit pornography on the site and that Twitter allowed that to be there for years and did nothing, even not responding to legal requests for takedown? No. None of them had a problem with it. They were too busy bitching about BitChute and the fact that people were asking questions about vaccines on the site. They had a real bitch fit about that. They never had a problem with literally illegal content on Twitter, which under 230 was the premise of moderation in the first place. To allow these sites to be conceived of as platforms initially was because they said, look, we cannot moderate all the content. There is simply no way to be profitable while doing so. If you want big tech firms and platforms to exist at all, they have to be given the capability of moderating things at their own pace as long as the TOS is reasonable, and they shouldn't be held responsible for content because we can't go through it all by hand. It's impossible. Despite that, they ignored illegal material and things that are genuinely troublesome like spam in order to go after people with simple differences of political and social opinion. That's the long and short of it. Elon Musk is right to institute general amnesty on Twitter. It's no surprise that the WAPO and others are putting out hit pieces saying, well, experts agree, most of which are not named, by the way, you'll notice in the article. Experts, this vacuous term, people that happen to agree with me, agree with the premise that Twitter is going to become a hellhole of evil and there will be hate speech and that will cause real world violence and things like that. I argue the opposite, and have for years. The internet allows people to vent in a verbal format, thus allowing them to be de-escalated, as long as you don't fall into the problem of echo chambers. But that's exactly what the more and more censored internet has actually generated. That's the only reason that anyone uses Gab was because of Twitter's own censorship. It's the only reason. Now, that particular echo chamber, and that is fundamentally what it is, between tradcons and nationalists mainly, there are some libertarians there like myself, is the core user base. Well, they're beyond your moderation. They've already tried to attack Gab multiple times too. It doesn't work. Torba's too skilled and keeps getting around it. You've got sites like Odyssey, etc. that are cropping up. Some of these sites have a very wide umbrella approach, like Rumble, for example. You've got MAGA there, you've got libertarians there, there are a spattering of liberals there, what's his name, Jimmy Dore has got an account on Rumble. You got music and non-political stuff too. But you run the risk of also creating sites that are effectively nothing more than hive minds that do actually involve extreme content. And so there's no attempt, there's nobody there to de-escalate things or talk somebody back from, listening to the glowing one and trying to deploy an explosive at a federal building or something. That's what leads to real-world violence, not open and honest and frank and uncensored debate. Taylorlorenz is the opposite of correct here, but she knows that. What she is trying to push is we must crush Twitter because now our competitors are being undeboosted and we're having to compete with people who are completely throwing shade on us. They are ratioing us constantly, making us look bad and look untrustworthy. We're actually getting fact-checked now. Oh my God, Elon Musk himself is fact-checking us. Well, that's bias. Yeah, but if the leader of Twitter, if Elon Musk were a leftoid and came out and praised the Washington Post and took a dump on Trump or something, you'd be the first one to make a report about how much better Twitter had become than in the past. That's about all. Peace out.